gravity, buoyancy, density, flat Earth, and for some reason anti-Zionism and Hitler love brought up by someone. So I'm gonna read back some useful information first because it's the third take. In any system you can create in physics that would not have a downward force of some kind, we will call it a downward force. We can call it gravity. You can also imitate the same thing if there is no gravity by accelerating something one direction continually at an ever-increasing speed. That's how you simulate gravity. You can also do it through a centrifuge, but the amount of pull changes how far away you are from the center, so you'd have to make it a really large centrifuge, and it would emulate pretty good higher gravity. You want to be 5 times, you want to have 5 Gs to make it to where you can actually analyze the effects of gravity that you could control. It's not really gravity, but it's pretty close. And that's centripetal versus centrifugal. So there is a difference. So anyway, and no, it's not a fictitious force, and that's a stupid wording, and it's a loaded language. Thank you, physics. Next, in a system devoid of any downward force like gravity, which is a symptom of something we've figured out about the reality we're in, there wouldn't be anything to cause stratification of objects based on different densities through buoyancy. Plain English, buoyancy is a phenomena you observe because of gravity. It proves gravity. You can't say that they're separate, because if you don't have any gravitational pull, if you don't have a downward force, now everybody's got to scream that we have to have one. It just can't be gravity. We have to call it some other damn thing. If you don't have that, you have, let's say, water and air. Easiest things in the world to stratify. At least mostly, unless you're looking at a cloud. If you don't have gravity, they just mix together pretty evenly. They don't really separate. They don't really do that. They kind of, but not really. And they don't go in a very specific direction every blasted time. If you put up a helium balloon and you don't have any air movement in the air and you let go of it, if it's got a lot of helium in it, it goes what we define as up, opposing gravity within air. If you put it in a different gas, it could also not go up in the air. Like, let's say, a hydrogen gas chamber, it drops. It doesn't have enough lift. It doesn't have any lift. An oxygen-filled balloon will float in a denser gas. That's an example, again, of buoyancy, density. An extreme example of it is every single thing existent, with very few exceptions, will float in molten lead. So when you recycle lead plates in batteries, you melt the whole thing down after getting the plastics out. You float the plastics on water, and then you throw the rest into the bin and melt it, and the lead is so dense that almost everything floats on top, so you skim off the top and get the steel clips out. And all the other elements that you don't want. It self-filters that way. Okay, but it's always what we call the top. This phenomena is caused by it being lighter and gravity pulling down on the denser material. It shows gravity. It is not a way of explaining away gravity. If buoyancy is the upward force, then what's the downward force that's it's opposing? And then you get a blank stare, and then people say, vote Trump or vote Hillary, equal stupid statements. Okay, now, next. Falling is due to density. Things fall because they are denser than air. But what's causing them to fall? Why don't they just go the other direction? Helium balloon doesn't fall. Yes, I'm reading this verbatim. Because it's lighter. Gravity explains nothing. This is assertions from a specific person. Gravity is a dumbed-down theory meant to disguise what we already know: density, buoyancy, electrostatic field coherency. You're throwing words around and you blundered, because that's not really what's going on. Electrostatics can be demonstrated in a vacuum chamber, so can gravity. Feathers and bowling balls fall at the same speed in a vacuum. Yeah, but. No, there isn't a yeah, but. Why are they still falling down when there's nothing to have buoyancy in? Why is it that direction? What is the compelling force? And then you get, well, let's go into apologetics and excuse mode. Oh, the Earth must be moving continually at an ever-accelerating rate up. Or you could do an experiment where you have two very large masses next to each other on the ends of basically torsion bars, and show that they will move towards each other because they are gravitationally attracted to each other, because gravity is based on how much matter is around other matter. It's a really simple explanation of how it works. It does actually show up, and you can do a kind of a demonstration on Earth, and it will work. Or you can say, what about, all damn day long, because you desperately need the Earth to be flat? There's a bunch of other assertions the person I'm referring to here made. Let's go through. I'm so tired of this fake reality we live in. You mean the spoon-fed reality you don't like hearing because you actually allow CNN to repeat the same news story for 6 months straight because it's a slow news year? It saps my motivation so much. Welcome to the club. I am so hungry for something real and good. Yum yum. That's where you fell off the cliff. This is an anonymous poster. I'm not going anywhere with it. Just because the world is dissatisfying you doesn't mean you should look for a satisfying non-reality. It's a trap. Akbar head. Natural physics of thickness and also buoyancy identify that items denser than the medium bordering them sink, while items much less thick compared to the tool surrounding them climb. Yes, I'm reading this verbatim from someone's assertion. This is the person that's being believed and taking someone off a cliff. This is the factor raindrops fall down via the air, while air bubbles rise with water. Things at excellent stability with the tool bordering them levitate in position like the balloon in the adhering to video clip. Please share this brief 5-minute video with your social worker networks, as well as assist it make go viral, so we could wake people as much as the centuries-old pseudoscientific lie of gravity. We will continue. Counterpoint. Here's an experiment. A room that is a vacuum. In this room, objects would fall down, which would not happen if gravity is just density. That means either this experiment was a fraud that you did, or there's something else that density as a rule as gravity. Interesting response. But gravity as it is defined seems to contradict the rules of density in my opinion, though. And the Earth is flat for some reason. Objects of vastly different densities fall at the same rate when placed in a vacuum. Buoyancy, apart from it being a direct result of force of gravity, gravity causes buoyancy effects that you see. It's an observed effect of it. They can't exist in a vacuum because the vacuum doesn't show density. So someone said, well, yeah, but the objects would show density if you put air in there. Yeah, that's the point. If you take the air out, it doesn't work. Well, I understand what you're saying, but you have to put air in the vacuum. What that means is the person's very much aware that in a simple experiment with a vacuum chamber, a steel pellet and a feather, they both drop at the same speed, but if you put air in them, the air resistance, not density, because they can be the same mass. A tiny steel pellet weighing the same as a feather dropped in a vacuum drop exactly the same way. The air resistance does this. Also, if it's just density, then why do you have terminal velocity when you jump out of an airplane at 200 some odd miles an hour? Air resistance. It eventually stops letting you fall as fast. You do accelerate gravitationally, but eventually the air pressure underneath you. Oh, I said pressure. That's your MacGuffin, right? Density is just a property of mass and doesn't make an object fall anywhere, because it doesn't, unless it's near a massive body. Massive objects are attracted to each other. That's it. We have space, a vacuum, uncontained next to a regular atmosphere. It makes no sense and cannot be replicated on Earth. It's called a vacuum chamber. Gravity is magic. Magic doesn't exist. It's just an illusion. The globe is dead. Ra Ra Zismumba. And then the personal attack part of our video. The personal attack helicopter, rather than the identifying as an attack helicopter. Ron Burgundy's a troll. Hi, Ron. That's why he's been blocked here. Yeah, that really proves you can handle someone explaining crap to you. You block his ass. Great. Just keep blocking his ass. He adds nothing of intellectual vigor to any thread he is making his inane comments in. And then my response, because you're going to block me immediately, You can't grammar. Next. Ron, you need to understand people have an aversion to the intellectually dishonest. Yes, he does. He's showing it to you. Your dishonesty makes him crazy. That is, try growing a little integrity and quit trolling with your falsehood. You mean experimentally demonstrable reality? This is a mishmash of commentary to try to explain to somebody. Thickness. Okay. Deliberately avoiding using the words that have been agreed upon, even though our language is crap, so you can explain physics to people. Let's do something else about the person who was making all this nasty gramming going on and wants you to believe in a flat earth. Adolf Hitler was actually a vegetarian, animal lover, author, artist, political activist, economic reformer, nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. He started anti-animal cruelty laws, anti-pollution, and anti-smoking laws. Hitler was beloved by his people. He wanted nothing but peace and never ordered the extermination of a single Jew, and up is down. Contrary to what the Allies paint him as, and also his own personal records and the bizarre tendency of the Third Reich keeping records on every damn thing they did, literally every damned thing they did. Yeah, let's ignore all evidence and just say that, because our assertion we're going to make on our website that we want people to see on a regular basis is this. Eric Dubay exposing the global conspiracy from Atlantis to Zion. Nice. Just throw everything in there. Just make everyone, just say every anti-reality thing we can. Go ahead. I'm going to make a statement about anti-Zionist and stuff in a minute. But anyway, the Atlantean conspiracy. Gravity doesn't exist. I'm here to, in an interview, I'm here to address and clear up several slanderous lies, accusations, rumors, etc. regarding IFERS, that's the International Flat Earth Research Society, president, on his background, his family, personal life, dinosaurs, flat earth, conspiracies, and controlled opposition. 200 proofs, even though the majority of them are just asserting the same thing with different spin on things repeatedly, and most of them are just hand waves that were done in the 1800s because someone lost a damn bet. Buoyancy does not demonstrate a way of replacing gravity. It is caused by it. Tell me what the force is that causes things to move down in a vacuum. Stop using the word buoyancy or density. Explain that. Otherwise you can't go any further. And what will happen is people do a hand wave. They'll say, what about, or something else. No. The downward force is called gravity. That's what it is. That's what we label it. It's a phenomena. It's something we observe. It's the name we've applied to it. Saying it doesn't exist is like saying that light doesn't exist just because you don't like what it implies or something. It's not an argument. It's not even a hand wave. It's just a refusal to acknowledge something that you experience on a daily basis. Also, you can create, yes, this has been done, a balloon with helium in it that was dropped in a vacuum and it fell as well. Just saying. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good